Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of Askgufish. I am back from a 2-week vacation and man, I'm feeling good. I was feeling really burnt out at the end of last year and I needed this break so bad. Some of these questions were filmed beforehand and I just didn't have time to edit it, so if you hear me talk about next year referencing 2020, that's why. Also, a merch update, all the merch has been printed up, so everyone who hasn't gotten a shipping confirmation yet, all the remaining merch orders will ship Monday. I am so sorry it took so long. Pre-order demand was much higher than I expected. Had to order more, and I just literally wasn't here to send it, so I thank you so much for your patience. What the f was that? I know in the age of Amazon, everyone wants the thing now. I understand, I get it, but I also wanted to make sure that I was shipping out the best product possible. Anyways, super excited for 2020. Let's just jump straight into your questions. Hunter, what are your thoughts ESP's Phase 3 and their new 87 series? I gotta say, I love the staggered preview that ESP does, right? Like, rather than overwhelm you with all the new models at once, first phase, we got the Phoenixes, second phase, we got the Sandblasted Swamp Ash Super Strats, I forgot what the name was, and this third phase, well, let's take a look. Okay, the 87 series is the biggest talking point from Phase 3. And the absolute standout for me here is the Eclipse 87. Now, straight off, it doesn't look anything like the modern Eclipse, right? Like today's Eclipse is one of the most popular metal takes on the Les Paul. I've had my own Eclipse since 2010, and besides the 18-volt mod for the EMGs, I haven't messed with it at all, because if you're into metal and single cuts like I am, it is just perfection. The 87 is very, very different. Well, I mean, not in terms of perfection, that remains to be seen, but in terms of a lot of other things. It's like an archtop TE with the same pointy headstock found on the Horizons. I mean, it's a super 80s looking thing. Comes in two variants, a Floyd and a Tone Pros Hardtail Tunematic combo. The Floyd comes in black and pearl white, while the non-Floyd comes in turquoise and pearl white. Oh my god, that turquoise. I don't know when this trend of pastel colors is going away again, but I hope it sticks around for a while. And with the matching headstock too, this just jumped near the top of the list of guitars I want to try this year. All of these 87s have neck-through construction and splittable JB59 humbuckers. It's such a reliable set from Seymour Duncan. And although I couldn't find any listings of actual vintage ESP Eclipses from 1987 on either Reverb or eBay, I would guess that that's what they originally came with. Or I could be totally wrong. I'm sure the comments will let me know. You guys definitely make sure I know when I mess up. Thank you for keeping me on my toes. Then there's the M1 Custom 87s. I'm not that familiar with the M series. I guess the number after the M indicates how many pickups it has. Like the M2 has dual humbuckers, the M1 only has a single humbucker in the bridge. Comes in three colors, black, dark metallic blue, and candy apple red. Each features neck-through construction, a Duncan Distortion TV6, and a non-recessed Floyd. That means less wood taken out of the guitar body, and infinite dive bombs to your heart's content. The trade-off is no dime squeals because the trem can't pull off. It's got a lower horn cutaway for maximum upper fret access. Oh, and there's a little toggle switch to engage the EMG PA2 for a little extra juice. Then the last of the 87 series guitars is the Mirage Deluxe, which comes in two glorious colors, pearl pink and turquoise. It's kind of got like the same body shape without the cutaway. In fact, overall, it is quite similar to the previous M1 with the TB6 in the bridge as well, but has a separate tone control instead of the boost, a non-recessed Floyd, and an angled hot rails in the neck position. Now, I mean, all of these 87s are so unapologetically 80s. Totally would never buy any of these for myself, but I can't help it. I'm drawn to those pastel colors and would love to demo them. Moving on to the more familiar looking LTDs, we've got three models. The first one is an EC1000 in black natural burst with a burled poplar top and a Duncan Pegasus Sentient set. Second is an M1007 in black sunburst satin with a Floyd and Fishman Fluence Moderns. And then a Viper 1000, again with the Sentient Pegasus humbuckers in black cherry satin and an Evertune. Honestly, these kind of seem like filler for Phase 3. They could have easily thrown the EC and the Viper into Phase 1 with the rest of the Eclipses and the announcement of the reintroduction of the Viper 1000s. Regardless, I am gassed to see more Evertunes on LTD models, even though I'm not a huge fan of the muted satin quilt. An Evertune version of the Tiger Eye Sunburst would have been super cool, but I'm glad to see it's the stock bridge on at least one of the new Vipers. With Phase 3, ESP's also announced another black metal edition in the form of the Phoenix. I definitely was not expecting this at all. Right, like they just brought the Phoenix back. I thought the Phase 1 would be like a small experiment, see how it fared in terms of sales this year, but nope. They are committing. Blacked out hardware, satin finish, lumen lays, neck-through construction, and then a single Fishman Fluence Modern in the bridge, which sets it apart from the rest of the series, which are powered by Seymour Duncans. Cool, it's like a guitar I didn't know I wanted, but now that I see it, I totally do. And then finally, let's talk the new signatures. First up is the NS6, which is Nurgle from Behemoth's new model. Most of the specs are pretty standard for a modern metal guitar: mahogany body, 3-piece maple neck, Macassar ebony fingerboard, 25.5-inch scale length, with Fishman Fluence Moderns. Obviously, the biggest visual standout is the beveled stream body shape. As far as I'm aware, this design is traditionally more used for basses. Look, I know there's a lot of complaints about guitar design nowadays. You walk around a trade show and there are so many models based off of the same Strats or Tellys or Les Pauls built decades ago. Guitarists are hungry for something new. So on one hand, I want to be like, cool, different shape. But on the other hand, it's like, why this one? It's so ugly. So not for me, but just like the 87 Mirage, it's cool that there's at least one option for US fans of the more obscure ESP designs. And even if it's ugly, that's okay, because the new Alex Wade model is super cool. It's a 7-string monster with a 27-inch baritone scale length, has a swamp ash body with an open grain black satin finish, a 5-piece maple walnut Paduk neck, and a Macassar ebony fingerboard with stainless steel frets. Hipshot bridge, DiMarzio deactivator pickups with gold pole pieces. Oh, it looks so cool. Next up is Javier Reyes from Animals as Leaders. You know, Tosin Abasi usually gets most of the attention in Animals as Leaders, but Javier Reyes is also an incredible guitarist in his own right. So there's the high-end JR608 and then the lower-end JR208. The 208 is the exact same one in black that's already in production, but has been given a Pelham blue color for 2020. And the 608 has been updated with Rey's brand new open core signature Fishman Fluence set to replace the DiMarzios from last year's iteration of the same model. Now, Ken Susi told me these were coming, but I got no other details. Not really sure how they differ from the classics or from a Bossy set, or whether they'll be available in non-8-string versions. I guess we'll see at NAMM. On a selfish note, I hope there's a 6-string version of the set, because 7 strings are still a struggle, and I do not get along with 8 strings at all. Then Stephen Carpenter has 2 new models as well, versus the SC607 baritone. Essentially the same purple satin model from last year, with an additional Carpenter Fluence in the middle position. Still not really sure why he likes that, but that's his thing. Then there's the lower end SC20 in Sonic Blue. 2 humbuckers in a single coil, neck through construction, and such a cool color. At the right price, this could be a fantastic mod project candidate. And JK, if the current SC20 is anything to go by, it'll be over $1,000. Still, Sonic Blue. Say what you will about the pickup layout, the man has fantastic taste in finish colors. And lastly, for the signatures is the SH207, a more affordable version of the 7-string Sir Headley I demoed last year. Bolt-on construction, Pal Ferro fingerboard, and LTD LH307 pickups instead of the neck-through ebony fingerboard and Fishman Fluences found in the higher end. It's also missing one of the key aspects of the SH7, and that's the Evertune, which has been replaced with a low-profile hardtail. It's still see-through purple, but overall, it's a very different guitar. I have mixed feelings about these lower-end signatures. On one hand, I have a hard time getting excited about a guitar that, bang for buck, isn't going to be that great, and despite the name on the headstock, realistically, the artist is never going to play. Whether it be for tone reasons or tuning stability reasons, Head is almost certainly never going to use this guitar in any professional setting. Because remember, music is his job. He's going to use the one with Fishman's and Evertune because he needs the most reliable tools to do his job, right? Like if you're a fighter pilot, you're not gonna be flying sorties using a crop duster, unless you're some sort of immense mad lad, I guess. On the other hand, the optimistic view is that these lower end signatures are more accessible. If they inspire new guitarists to pick up the instrument because of the name on the headstock, that's awesome. And they're also collector's items. It's kind of like merch. It's diversifying income and allowing the artist to live and make music for us to enjoy. And in general, the colors seem to be pretty good, so they do make decent mod platforms if you can get them at a good price. So I have a couple thoughts about the lineup overall. Firstly, signature models. Between PRS, Ibanez, which I guess I'll react to next week because I haven't had a chance to really take a look at all their new models, and now ESP. Yes, signature models are still a thing, but there seems to be far less emphasis on them than there has been in previous years. There just seems to be fewer and fewer of them every year. In 2018, there were 12 new signatures. This year, about half that. There's been far more emphasis on the development of main lineup guitars, and I think there's a couple reasons for that. One, guitarists value their individuality. Fewer and fewer of us want a guitar that screams someone else's personality. And 2, guitarists are more skeptical. It's not good enough anymore to just slap a name and a new color on a regular guitar and call it a signature. It needs to really stand out in terms of specs as well. And that's not always easy to do, and sometimes backfires in terms of sales if the specs are too niche and don't appeal to a wide enough audience, right? So it needs to be special, but not too special. It's a very fine balance. And I think that's happened enough times now where brands are more cautious. I was also expecting to see a new Hetfield signature of some sort. There was the limited edition baritone snakebite, which is very cool, but it's been a couple of years since we've seen a new regular production Hetfield model. Second takeaway, just like in Phase 1, EMG is completely missing in favor of Seymour Duncan and Fishman Fluence. So I think that makes it a grand total of 1 EMG loaded guitar in the 2020 LTD lineup. That is rough. For years, ESP and LTD has been one of EMG's top OEM partners. Like, ESPs were almost synonymous with EMGs. I'm not necessarily worried for EMG this year. Plenty of the older models still in production come with an 8160 or 8185, but going forward, I hope EMG has something in the product pipeline to compete, or they might become irrelevant real fast, which would be a shame. Healthy competition is good for us guitarists. Balls in EMG's court, let's see what happens. Then finally, it'll be interesting to see if the 87s are here to stay. Like, trends are cyclical, right? With Charvel bringing in a lot of new players with the Roasted Maple DK24s, Kramer and BC Rich relaunching their lineups, 80s style guitars have been creeping back into popularity for the last couple of years. So whether they're limited to this year's lineup as part of ESP's 45th anniversary celebration, or whether they become part of the core lineup, remains to be seen. I know the Mirage Deluxe in particular is something that LTD fans have been asking for forever because they've been so elusive. To my knowledge, I don't think it's been part of the LTD lineup before, and up until now, the easiest way to get one has been to import one from Japan. So that's really exciting for US fans looking at these models at attainable price points. I mean, obviously, I'm huge into everything Eclipse. TE with a Tunematic and with a turquoise finish, that's my top pick from Phase 3. But of course, this is when I throw it to you. Now on the website, it says this is the finale. I definitely remember them talking about a Phase 4 though, so I guess we'll see the last ones at NAMM, seeing as we haven't heard anything about the E2s. So for now, what are you most excited for, and what do you want to see on the channel? Poll in the top right. Also, are you satisfied with all the new LTDs? And if not, what else do you want to see at NAMM from ESP? Maybe a full thickness Evertune EC1000? That's just me. What about you? I'd love to know in the comments down below. And now let's take a quick second to talk about today's sponsor, D'Addario. If you've been watching my videos the last few weeks, you've probably heard me talk about their XT series of strings. They're extended life because they feature D'Addario's thinnest and most durable coating to date, so they feel just like normal high quality strings. They just last longer, which saves you money. And while they do want me to focus on the XTs, I've also been using their nickel wound NYXLs, which feel great as well. Links to more information in the description. If you're in the market for new strings, I highly recommend you checking them out because I think you'll love them. Yeah, D'Addario. They make great strings and they support independent online guitar content. What's not to like? Well, that sucks. It's open to places farther away than Canada, but Canada is totally exploited from this. I get what you mean. I don't think that's the right word. Or even a word. Sorry for putting you on blast, Terry. What the hell? Is this some kind of payback against Glenn Fricker or what? Yeah, that might be part of it. So a little bit of context, the latest High Intergrity mod project went up the other day. Thanks again to Reverb for helping me out with that one. Basically, if you haven't seen it yet, we took the infamous Gibson Gold Mist Firebird Zero and used money to try to make it into the guitar that maybe it should have been. You know, instead of the controversial dumpster fire that it launched as. Link in the cards if you haven't seen it yet, but spoiler alert, it's actually fun to play now, and we've decided to give it away to US residents only. Now I understand, Canada is super close, and it's not because of CITES, it's not because I'm jealous of the healthcare system, and it's not you, Glenn, it's a completely separate issue. The simple truth is, international shipping prices from the US are stupid. Shipping into the US, relatively cheap. Shipping out of the US, expensive. Even to Canada. Towman charges, what, like $35 flat rate shipping for up to 3 Harley Bentons? Cost me 20 bucks to send a shirt to Canada. It's ridiculous. Reverb didn't want to deal with that or have anyone hit with an import tax to boot, so yeah. US residents, it's still open, so check the video out for details. Non-US residents, I hear you. I'm working on some stuff. Hopefully we'll have something for you guys next year. Will you let me buy you a coffee at NAMM? Because I'm probably gonna be there. Yeah, I don't have like a meet and greet planned or whatever the streamers do at like TwitchCon or whatever, but if you see me on the show floor, definitely feel free to say hi. I'm always down for a coffee or a quick chat or whatever. How do you feel about the price of Kerry King's signature Dean guitar? $8,666. Oh, the spec's been released? First impression, the price seems very on brand for Kerry. I mean, the 666 part at least. Whether you think it's cheesy or not in 2019, that's always been part of the Slayer thing. I respect the commitment to the theme. So yeah, it's a little pricey, limited to 50 pieces. At that price, I'm not really sure who's gonna be buying this. Maybe some Middle Eastern oil barons are like super into Slayer. As far as the signature itself goes, in terms of looks, 13-year-old me thinks it's bad ass. but it could not be further from my current taste. Like, I've got a video of a vintage-themed Telecaster that I'm editing right now, should be out soon. I've basically gone full boomer, guys. That Maleficent hairdo on both sides of the guitar, just not for me. Spec-wise, mahogany body with a beveled maple top, 3-piece maple neck with a custom Kerry King profile, ebony fingerboard, neck through construction, Kerry's signature Kaler tremolo, EMG 81 with a preamp booster in the bridge and a Sustainiac in the neck. So yeah, not a super generic combo, but still very much in line with the metal focus. Made in the USA, and that's definitely an aspect that adds to the price. Yeah, it's just not the guitar for me, and not just because I can't afford it, but for everyone that's like, really? At this price? Slayer's done, Kerry King's now irrelevant. I mean, obviously, he's not as big an influence as he was back when rock and metal ruled the world, but it's Kerry King. He's legend status, and that's permanent. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of supergroup or solo project he launches next. And of course, I'm also looking forward to the pretty much inevitable import version of his Dean signature. I'd definitely try that one out because it's guaranteed views. Whoops, I mean, because I've never tried a guitar with that signature trem, and I'd like to see how it is. Yeah, that sounds right. And now it's time to hear from yet another adoring fan. It's the high praise of the week. Saying boom after a sentence makes you sound unfuckable. These look perfect. 6-in-line locking. I'm gonna add that to cart. Boom, view cart. To be honest, I'm okay with that. You're not really my type. And if you enjoyed this episode of AskGufish, do me a favor and hit that like button. Leave your thoughts and your questions for future episodes in the comments. Subscribe and make sure to hit the bell for all notifications if you haven't already. If you want more content from me, you can click or tap one of the cards on the screen. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video.